Hey, welcome into the round pen with Jacob, the black and white bud. Hey, buddy. It's been a week since I did a video, and in that week I've worked him 4 or 5 times, I guess, mostly from above. So this ought to be a lot better. Let me see if I can get Runner to back up here. This ought to be better. I did this a time or two. I did it from the fence a time or two. I sat on him and I rode him, and I'll explain that here in just a minute. Here's my analogy with this horse. Be like if you took your kid to school and put him in kindergarten, and he went through kindergarten and he did okay in 1st grade, and then they said, oh, we're just going to skip him up to 5th grade. We're kind of in a hurry. So we're going to skip 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade with him. And so that's kind of what happened to this horse. At least that's my best analogy of it. Because, you know, I've said all along, I think he's going to be fine once we actually start riding him. And I have ridden him some. But he's just got to be okay with everything that's going on here. Okay, see him still pulling away. This is the 3rd or 4th time that I've done this with this horse. There, he's okay. There we go. And so once I get him okay and I fill in everything he missed in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, then we'll get on him and proceed with 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, which he already knows. You know, he already knows a lot of stuff. He just wasn't okay with everything that was going on, and he's coming along pretty nicely. Okay. So what I did yesterday, and well, the day before, I guess, I just sat on him. Got in the saddle, just sat there, got off, walked over, let him lick his lips, came back, sat on him again. Did that 3 or 4 times one day. And then yesterday I did the same thing. But then I just started walking him around the round pen here. He was just he and I. Runner wasn't in here. And I just let him walk probably about 10 minutes, mostly just wherever he wanted to go. Just ask him to walk. And he was pretty tense, he was especially tense when we were going to the right and he was looking at me out of his right eye. You may remember he's not as good in his right eye as he is his left. And so when he was looking at me about his right eye, with his right eye, I could really feel the tension in his body more than on the left. So I rode him around probably about 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes of just walking around real easy, I didn't even guide him very much, he dropped his head down and let out a big breath. And when he did, I immediately got off, loosened the cinch, and put him up. And by the way, folks, anytime you cinch up a young horse, and this isn't young, but a green horse, you don't want to just climb on them, because what they can do is they can freeze up on you and then blow up. You need to untrack them and make sure they're okay after you've cinched them up. Move them around a little bit. You just never know what happened in their brain when you were doing that. Okay, now recall the right side is his difficult side. So today I'm going to start on the right side. Okay. And you know, interesting thing about this horse, I don't need to bend his head around. He doesn't try to move off. Okay, I can move him, or bend him, I mean. But he doesn't try to take off or anything. There we go. Okay. So you see his head come up when I sat on him? Came up about 6 or 8 inches. Again, all I'm trying to do is just get him to be okay. Okay? There. And his ears are back, not in a bad way. He's got all of his attention on me. He doesn't have any attention on Runner over there. It's all focused on me. Okay, so I'm gonna get off on the other side. Okay. And walk over here and see if he'll lick his lips. See if he'll drop his head down. Okay, I'm going to back up a few more steps. There we go. So that took a little longer than it did yesterday, probably because runners here, there's a little more, there's more stuff going on here than we had yesterday. That wasn't bad. Okay. Now he didn't relax as much as I would have liked, but he did relax a little bit. Okay. All right. So that time his head didn't come up until I sat on him. And I know a lot of y'all have horses like this. You can ride them, you can saddle them and get on them and ride them around, but they're just not okay. So hopefully you can kind of watch this whole series with him and kind of get some ideas of how to help your horse get over stuff. Just relaxing my body as much as I possibly can. Okay, good. Now I'm going to get off on the other side and walk away. Okay, so that's interesting. When I did this yesterday and the day before, when I got off, he just stood there. That's the first time he's moved and walked over, because I've got my herd of horses over here on the other side of the pen on this side. He walked over and looked at those horses, said, "Hey, why don't you guys come talk to me?" All right, come on back, buddy. Okay, I think he's okay, Vaughn. So let me go ahead and get back on him. And, some of this is just feeling your horse when you're on him. Okay? How tense does that horse feel? I'm going to loosen this cinch. I got it a little bit too tight. Hold on, buddy. That was not necessary. There we go. Not necessary, so untrack him here. Okay. Okay. Okay, I like that a lot right there. Oh, that is nice. So I pushed his head down, but he left it there. He didn't jerk it back up. So when I was a school teacher, we had a school teacher word called chunking, which meant you just, if your student can't learn the whole thing, you break it down into little bitty bites and teach it to them a little bite at a time. Okay? Now, why did he raise his head just then? Possibly the wind picked up and my neighbor has a flag in her front yard. I think that's what he saw. It's about 100 yards away, but he can see it. And so all I've done is just break everything down into smaller little bites that he can handle. You can't eat the whole thing at one time, but you can take one little bite. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flex him a little bit here. Okay, see how that bothered him? Okay. It's going to bother him more on this side because of his right eye. There. Okay. he's pretty stiff, which means he's not just real calm here. Let me see if I can get him to relax a little bit. Come here, buddy. Come here. There you go. There you go. So you can feel underneath you how tense your horse is. All right. So Yvonne, what I'd like you to do is just come over here, walk right over this way in front of me, and just start riding around nice and slow. Okay, turn to your right there, and we're just going to follow you. I think he'll follow your horse. We'll see. His head sure came up. He says, I don't know. All right. He may not want to follow your horse. This may not be as good of a plan as I thought it was. Typically, horses are kind of natural followers. That's interesting. He says, I'm not going to him. I'm not following him. I sure thought he would. Okay, just go on and ride by me. Let's see what happens. And I don't know if I'm in the camera or not, but I'm holding on pretty tight. Trying not to be tense. I'm asking him to move, but he does not want to follow Runner. Okay. Okay. So I'm surprised at that. I'm not going to make him do it if he doesn't want to do it. It's not really necessary. All right. Okay, so since that idea didn't work, Yvonne, go ahead and stop and get off. I'm going to get off as well.